Timothy O'Connor.
Here. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Move to adopt.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the consent agenda.
Quick question. Have they changed the record license type at all? It's really hard for me to understand whether this is merely serving their own customers or not on this particular license. It doesn't quite say the same thing that it used to say. Or that I was gonna have it say from back when I approved it the first time.
I don't know the answer to that. I'll
We're not allowed to have, we're not allowed to open bars, it's gotta only be for customers. And that was the type of license we allowed there from the council when we did that.
and that may be a provision of this tourism seasonal.
Right, it used to be called something different, that's why, that wasn't what it was called before.
We'll make a note.
But I don't know, do we have time to comment on it at the next meeting, or?
60 days from January, March 17th, yes.
Okay. So actually,
If you want to
I'd
put
like
this on the
to
next
hold
agenda.
that for next meeting, and then just approve if that's okay with we did that.
Motion?
Motion.
Yes.
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 It's okay with them to.
In the meantime, I'll ask that question of the alcohol control board.
Ours should be.
Yes. We'll check that and bring some more information back.
Okay.
Okay. Move on.
They're still in notice.
Oh, you go on. So, voice vote. All in favor of holding that over till next meeting?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then a vote on that.
None.
Then a vote on consent agenda. And do that.
It's-
To approve the resolution.
Okay. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passed. Okay, hearing from the public. Yeah, we won't talk. Resolution 23-02, shared fisheries tax.
Not come back up for action on the resolution.
Okay. We're going from there. Reports from city officials. Mayor and two council members and Brian went to the Southeast Conference. Accomplished quite a bit at that meeting. And, sounds like the legislature and the governor and the Senate's all behind, back with a resolution to try to battle that, Wild Fish Conservancy group in Seattle was trying to stop trolling up here, down at the junction against us. So that's a big plus. We got some pretty good, news from Southeast Conference for getting more funding for getting the mariculture up and running. So it was all pretty much a pretty successful meeting out there. Administrator?
I just will echo what the mayor said. It's one of the better visits to the Hill that I've had in years, and the meeting was great, and the sidebars were even better. So I think we'll see a number of things come out of discussions that were held in June the last few days. So despite the travel, it was a great meeting. Beyond that, I submitted a staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this? I'll also from my perspective. Thank you. You know, there was a lot on the agenda up there, issues that we're facing here in Craig. We've seen a lot of discussion on, up there, childcare. Everybody in the state is struggling with childcare. Our state delegation and federal delegations both, we had chances to, the federal delegation addressed this. They acknowledged it. We got a chance to talk to their state delegation representatives. They acknowledged it. They're looking at, you know, what can be done. It's a challenge for everybody. Juneau just had 2 daycares, childcare facilities closed here or in the process of closing right now. People they don't even know what to do. Basically, allocation for student funding, school systems. There's an acknowledgement that has to be addressed. There's a range of funding levels that are being thrown around. I see the Senate today, actually, this morning, come out that they're proposing 1,000 as we're starting negotiating probably, 1,000 per student. Opioids and fentanyl was a really big issue on the agenda up there. It's you know, it's been epidemic everywhere. How to address both the health care issues and the stress it puts on family, as well as the legal aspects and holding people accountable that are, you know, pushing stuff. Mayor mentioned the King Salmon lawsuit. Wolf listing was also mentioned, the impacts that would have. There's some interest in trying to, you know, look at ways to address that. The decision isn't expected until third quarter of this year. The mariculture, a lot of stuff there. I felt like it was it was the first time I went to one, and it was very valuable for me. I learned a lot, and because there's so much focus on Craig and this mariculture thing right now, it was good for us to be there, to be able to interact with people. We had representatives from Sean Seat there. They had a real interest in this, in their land base, where some of this facility is likely to go. And so, you know, it was good representation from our community.
Well, it was interesting because they have 21 new legislators. And so when we went to talk to, gosh, I cannot remember her name. She's the gal that we played.
Rebecca Hampshire.
I'm just gonna say Rebecca.
There you go. That's what she prefers. And
She figured, you know, she wouldn't get much done the first year. Well, she's already having to do resolutions, and I just found the whole thing very interesting. It's been a long, long time since I attended Southeast Conference, and I too got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we've seen Richard Peterson there and Anthony Watt, all those people were pretty active. There's been tribal interest in projects that are in the works. And it's good to see everybody working together like that and trying to accomplish common goals. You know, they're all looking into the kelp industry here and all of that, as well as other things, child care issues and several other things that interest us all. And it's good to see us all working together like this, because you get a hell of a lot more accomplished working together than you will trying to work independently. Anyway, Ms. Treasurer.
I submitted a financial report and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Additionally, on top of that, I would just like to make comment that you'll notice in my report that I did express some interest in us looking for a new accounting software. That's not something that's gonna happen anytime soon, but there is a software that you can see called Excel that we are pretty impressed with. I had the opportunity to have a live demo with Wade Walker, who is head of the company, and Brian was able to sit in on that demo as well. And from what we can see, it's super customizable, super user friendly. I mean, it's something that, depending on what the council's take is on it, that I would like to push and maybe see happen in the future.
You feel we have better support than we've had previously from these other people?
Yes, and I didn't mention there as well, Wrangle is actually going through the transition right now. They currently have active funds like we do, and they are in the transition to Cassell. From what we've gathered, it takes about a year to transfer data and get everything up and running before the software is live. So there's not gonna be much commentary from them, but I'm still waiting to hear back from Mason. He's a finance director of Ringgold, and I was gonna get any commentary that he had so far.
And there's a lot of information we're still together. I had a conversation with our IT engineer this afternoon, and I happened to bring this up, and they also happen to do IT support for Wrangle, so he's intimately involved with their changeover, and he brought up a number of issues to think about or that we would want to make sure happen in terms of how our server's configured and our internet capabilities and those sorts of things. But the software looks good. I will confess to not getting lost in a 2.5 hour demo, and I get lost easy in the accounting stuff. So I was pretty impressed with it. But I think I've told council before that this is a painful and expensive process to switch accounting software. And so there are, in the proposal that Cassell provided, there's a version where we would buy a license of the software and put it on their own server and maintain it, or a version where they would host it on their own servers and we wouldn't have to buy a license. And the hosted version is more expensive over the course of a year. The licensed version is very expensive upfront. And so there's some pricing information in there. If council's interested in moving forward or us exploring it more, we can certainly look at the modules closer and do a little bit more of a cost breakdown and bring back to the council the difference in cost between what we're paying now for AccuFund versus what it would cost for Cassell.
That was my question, is either 4,000 something a month plus the addition, then what do we pay a month to AccuFund?
That was my exact question.
We pay right around $14,000 a year for AccuFund support. And then we occasionally get billed for specific services, but the general software support that we pay to AccuFund is about $14,000 a year. So it's significantly lower than Cassell. Cassell will be a big jump in price, either the hosted or the server version.
It's another one for me.
That's what I was, that's exactly what I had in my notes.
That was what I had.
Yeah,
Again, not that I'm closing the door on it, I was
No.
just, that, when I hit that number, I like, yeah, that,
I looked at the budget and I couldn't figure out how much we were paying exactly that, that's why I had to.
It's currently right around
there's one line
$11.60 a
item.
month.
Yeah, there's one line item in the administration budget detail for AccuFund, and that's our annual support for the software. Yeah, it's a big price jump, and I'll be upfront. Having witnessed at least one transition of software, it's painful. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a rough year.
That Wrangle used it for a full year first.
We can do that too.
I think.
For once, we're not the first one doing something, so we can learn from somebody else's mistakes.
Yeah, but when you look at all the problems we
Oh, no,
have,
I know.
Yeah.
this is going to be working.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
cost us a fortune. Just
Right. Right, I mean, look at how many people have tried to figure it out.
And I was very disappointed in AccuFund when I talked to the Wrangle Borough manager about their decision to make the transition. They were experiencing some of the same major problems that we were being told by AccuFund were unique to us. And in addition to the $14,000 a year, I haven't sat down and figured out how much time
no,
Sherry spent trying to get that damn.
I'm not pro
file
AccuFund, I didn't
No.
by any stretch of the imagination. But I was just, when I did that 4,000,
Yeah.
I was times 12, and I'm like 55,000 a year, that's an employee, like,
Yeah.
that.
No, it's a big jump.
So Brian, what kind of timeline are we looking as far as the total training and the setup?
So the setup takes a good part of the year. So they have to completely rebuild all of our account structure in Cassell, essentially to match the account structure that we're used to using in AccuFund. But they build everything into the system. They build all the account codes and everything for all the revenues and expenditures. And that takes months and months in order for them to do that. And then they turn around and they start to import or export data from AccuFund and import it into the other software and then start to adjust it. The plan would be at some point, if the council wants to move forward, what we would likely see is if we pull the trigger on the software at the beginning of a fiscal year, we probably would continue to use AccuFund through that entire fiscal year. And we would just be moving to the new software at the beginning of the following fiscal year. So that's kind of the time frame that we're looking at. It's probably at least a year from the time that we pull the trigger to the time that we're using the software.
Can I ask another question? Cassell, did this name come from, and I cannot remember the lady's name, it doesn't matter. Did it come from her?
This is one of the ones that Marva did,
Marva.
that Marva recommended. The Catch Can's a little bit different situation though, because they don't use one single software. And so they use Cassell for certain functions over there, but not for their entire accounting software like we would or Randall tends to.
I was just wondering what like
But
her,
she's familiar.
I was wondering what her recommendation was, and this was one of them?
Yeah.
But she had others too.
There were other softwares that she used that she said would be an improvement over AccuFund.
So she is coming to next week.
Yeah.
To work with me 6th through the 10th, so if you guys would like to ask her, if she has any other recommendations on any other softwares or will, more in depth on, so we can do that as well.
There were a lot of discussions at the annual conference in Aggie for these different types of accounting software.
Yeah.
And twice now, I've talked to these people up there, 2 different years.
Yeah.
And both times they said they'd do better.
So
Well, I mean, I'm the last person to pick out software, because that is just not my wheelhouse, but yeah, like I said, that number struck me, but, I mean, again,
Yeah.
I understand you also don't want to find no side effects, because you're spending employee time, and
Well,
you're
Sherry's
missing
been-
out on money.
Sherry spent 2 years trying to make these books balance.
Yeah,
And the reason it couldn't balance was because AccuFund.
and
And
you,
AccuFund did not own it and never come to us and said, hey, we screwed up.
yeah,
It got fixed. The same thing happened in Wrangell.
yeah, and you can be penny wise and dollar dumb, so I get that, but I just was
It's like-
curious about other options too.
They'd have owned that and come to us and said, hey, we messed up, we're gonna fix it.
So it's a little, it's less complicated, so it's a little better suited for smaller cities, I take it.
It looks it. Like I said, I sat through the demo with Kimber, and if I sit through AccuFund training, I last about 12 seconds. And I managed to follow the demo for 2.5 hours. It made sense to me. I mean, I used it obviously, and neither has Kimber. But it seems to make a lot of sense. I've been told by folks that do use it that it's a much simpler software, and from the looks of it, I think it's likely more appropriate for a community our size.
It's something we're looking into. There's no definite, we're still investigating. Just keep it on your radar. City planner.
I've submitted a written report and I'd be happy to answer any questions. One other additional item, we have the opportunity to talk with a search trainer. Michelle Torres will be coming on February 16th at 2 p.m. Here at the council chambers to talk about CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team. It's a really great opportunity for any member of the community to get training, a number of different aspects from like search and rescue, first aid, things that help people be better prepared in emergency situations. So it's exciting. I've extended invitations to a number of different community leaders, as well as to other communities. This will be just a short introduction to the program, but hopefully we'll be able to maybe schedule some trainings in the fall.
If you reach out to Heidelberg, their fire department's been contacting
Oh,
me
yes.
for training. Like,
Yes, I actually did reach out to Heidelberg
good.
about it.
'Cause I know they contacted me twice trying to look into training and we didn't have any meetings going on right now, but.
And this is, CERT is a more basic program for any community member. Fire safety is one aspect, but, it's not going to be the in-depth firefighting training,
No,
so.
there's more of search and rescue and other than.
Kind of a neighbor helping neighbor in a
Yes.
disaster training. Yeah. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
back up on the clerk so she doesn't get that.
Did I sleep through Brian's?
She left a big gap in
Yeah.
No, but if you have questions, I can still.
there. I thought she wanted to be skipped when she did that.
Yeah.
Miss Word?
Pretty brief. The thing we're kind of gearing up for right now is the delinquent property taxes, and Kimberly gave an updated list, and I'm hoping Brian will let me work with Marva, which is a lot of background. And I'm reading Alaska statute and the municipal code.
You like it, you don't do it, we're going to work on that.
Next council meeting is February 16th, unless that sounds okay for everybody. You?
Hey, maybe you'll feel this, do you? Fire EMS.
I've submitted a written report, be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions for fire or EMS?
I have one.
Go ahead.
On the medical director, how's that going?
Not really getting anywhere with anything, and, we're hoping, we're still just waiting on the ALS standing orders. They're not done on one side, and we're just kind of waiting. And I can't find anyone that really wants us.
Yeah, it's a big liability, it's a big ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's hard to find.
I have a phone meeting with Dr. Cole tomorrow morning on another issue, so I'm sure that if we have time, we're gonna talk about her efforts to find the medical director as well.
Okay.
That's at 11, right?
10.
10. Any more questions for fire EMS? We got a donation here from Kennedy. They lost their shop out there on 4.5 miles St. Nick, so he gets $500 for responding.
Oh,
So it's nice of them.
What?
We couldn't help them, the shop was totally fully engulfed, it was pointless, but I couldn't get within 60 or 70 feet, even hold of it, much as put it down.
And there was hot.
It was very hot. And there was nothing left by the time we got there except for a big ball of fire. Pretty much it. So I do thank them for that donation to the fire department. So,
Just the acknowledgement, show them for this. Appreciate it.
yeah, much appreciated. Harbor Master.
I've submitted a written report, be happy to answer any questions.
Had one, I can't remember what it was now. Brian, you had to quit, you know, with that. Oh, your, harbor committee.
Cool.
Have you got any input from them? Recently?
We met,
Any harbor regions?
I have. Yeah, they were ones that were interested in the boat launch, the modification to the boat ramp. There's been a few other things.
Did you include those in your reports? Whenever they have an advisement or they have an opinion?
Okay,
I would appreciate it if we could see that.
we have, we have another meeting coming up on the March 2nd, I believe is the date.
Yeah, just, if you would, whatever they, bring up their suggestions, I'd like to see it, then we can act on them, but it would be nice to see them.
Okay,
Mike?
The lights down in the dock look good, it's nice, hopefully they're reliable. It's been a real challenge down there, but, having good lights down there is important. As we work towards putting in a new piling, clearly the other piling and light had an issue, which is unfortunate, but when we put new ones in, it would be nice to put lights on the first piling at the bottom of the gangway and maybe put one or two down the figured flow, because that float is still really dark when you walk down it. Especially if you have a boat on the dock side, because then it blocks the light getting onto the float.
Have you been down it since I put the new light on,
No,
down on the float itself since I put the new lights up? Because they actually shine onto the float.
Right.
And I plan to put one up at the top of the ramp that will shine down. Because,
We could put a light out that other dock too, couldn't we? Shining down.
off the fuel dock,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old fuel
the old
dock.
fuel dock.
That would be a possibility too.
It really needs to be on the float, and the reason why is if you have, especially big boats, we have seiners tying up there. If you have a big boat tying up there, then it literally, just traces a shadow across the whole dock wherever the boat is. And
Yeah.
if you have a light on the dock, then it's going up and down the dock, it keeps it,
Better lit.
better lit. It's to some degree, it's a safety issue.
Yeah, that's the point. Valid point.
And I noticed, I actually was out in Skip here a few weeks ago, and I seen one of the panels, I didn't know there was two, but I seen one panel in the well knock was out, and so it'd be, I would suggest as soon as possible we get them replaced, because there's,
You address that in this report.
yeah, I see it's in there, but it's as soon as possible, hopefully we can get them replaced, because I'm sure it's pouring water in there when we have some of these monsoon rains.
No doubt. Do you know approximately what the cost of that steel dock, that they use for retainers?
The sheet pile wall,
That one, yeah, sheet pile.
I don't know the cost on it. I could do some looking if you're interested.
Can you look into that, see what the cost per foot or?
It's an economical way because it'll hold material in, and yeah, it's a good way to build.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it's far superior to a rock wall.
Yeah. Yeah, but how's it compared to piling?
As far as
Survivability, how long is it gonna live?
long time, and then when it does need replacement, you can drive another wall in front of it. Whereas piling, if you have, like, for instance, if we had some piling go bad out at the False Island, you're gonna be spending a lot of money to replace those.
Cutting a hole
Cutting a hole in the deck basically, or floating one in somehow. My understanding is that facility originally was set to be a sheet pile wall and then filled in with rock, and then there was a cheaper option that came up, and so that's what they did.
in.
Those piling have a shelf life, or, a certain set amount of time in the water.
Is that how they estimate the cost of that, or just the cost per foot, or?
I don't know what the sheet pile, I could find out,
Because I have no idea.
yeah. But if you like, when you're going in on the ferry to Ketchikan, if you look over at the shipyard, all of their, it's all sheet pile.
So is Haynes, if you go to Haynes Harbor,
Mhm.
their new harbor.
Yeah.
Rubble wall is all sheet pile,
It's all over Alaska, and it's a really good method to build.
better alternative.
I think so. They did it in Anchorage and it was a failure, but that was a completely different,
They probably put
It
it in
was a-
silt and it probably blew
yeah,
out.
it was a mess,
That's
what they tried doing.
Because that's all just really.
Totally
silt.
different,
There's
yeah.
No way it'll hold.
Yep.
We have rock here, it'll hold.
Yep.
So maybe we put anchor piling in.
Yeah, the cost of, I remember, you're right, they were gonna do sheet pile out there, and then the cost was surprisingly, we were surprised, but it was significantly more than pile, and that's why I went with pile. So
Yeah.
I think, solid fill is better myself, but it was a cost factor.
Yeah, well, we're looking at it, we just try to get a ballpark figure of approximately what you're looking at.
And you're talking in regards to South Cove Harbor, like we've talked about? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, possibly there, but,
The South Cove thing is gonna be way shallower, so it'll be much cheaper to do. It won't have to be driven that far down. Number one, it's not gonna have wave action and.
just different locations that
Okay,
it could be feasibly used, so.
Good information to know.
It is good information to know. Yeah. 'Cause I'm concerned about, off the end of that, the old Ford property there, you know, if we could run a little breakwater out there to that light. Quit having those waves slam into those boats on that north end of the dock there. They get bucking pretty good out there.
yeah. You got some rock out there too, so that would,
Yeah,
That's
it's real shallow and there's rock already there. I don't know what the core process is, but I don't think it's that complicated because of that problem.
Mhm.
So that could be something else in the future we look at also. Okay, library. Any library?
Are you on the phone, Patricia? She submitted a written report.
Okay, good. I see it, yeah. I read it. Any questions on library?
Lots of activities.
Yeah.
Yes, and Patricia and I talked to you, when we talked about some of the activities, and the reach of some of these activities has just been amazing. Not just the kids that come into the library, but the packages that just come in and letting people pick up and do it home and working with homeschool groups and the number of packets going out the door, even compared to the number of activities being done in the library, is huge.
Yeah.
So doing a great job.
She's staying busy.
Yeah.
She's also pursued grant money to get a remodel and an upgrade for the library, and she's been really active in chasing down grants and any money available. I think she's had pretty good success so far.
We've got some Rasmussen money. We put out a request for proposals for architects just to do a very basic analysis, spatial analysis, and some recommendations about renovation or building new. And we selected an architect. I can't remember which one of the two it was. So that's going to be paid for from some money from Rasmussen.
And I would suspect with all the money that's floating around and all this infrastructure that's going on, upgrading the libraries would be right at the top of their list if we submit it. Be nice to get it in there. Well, the police chief, he's busy, huh?
Let's see, I'm guessing he's busy, but let's submit a written
Yes, I'm on
report.
there.
Oh.
The report, you haven't answered any questions.
Yeah, I just see that, RJ, I see you mentioned, the increase in CDL testing, that was another issue that was, our federal, Lisa mentioned. It's a real challenge because of the new federal laws, and there's continued effort to try and find a waiver or some way that, we can deal with this, because it isn't just our island, it's almost all of Alaska, and the rail belt in general.
Yeah.
Challenge, so.
Yeah, the only drawback is I was notified last week by the federal prosecutors that President Biden put out a memo to all the federal prosecutors basically restricting what they can and can't take from state. So it's gonna be much harder to get our cases to go federal versus state. I will still push as hard as I possibly can for everyone that we get, because it's definitely stricter penalties. But if we can't get them in the federal system, then we might want to think about what the council did probably 15 years ago. So I submitted a letter to the district attorney's office, requesting stiffer penalties. Because even though we haven't had any deaths this year because of the drugs on the island, there's been a lot of overdose. If it wasn't for the Narcan, we would have a lot of deaths.
We did bring that up with both Stedman and Muckleford. What her name is? Muckleshoot. whatever. That's a casino down. Yeah. Close enough. Anyway, we brought up the issue of, tougher sentences by the state, and it's already on their radar. They were already discussing it, I think, in the House yesterday after we had meetings with them. So it is on their radars, so.
Yeah, but I don't think it would hurt for us to write a letter to the local DA saying we're sick and tired of the catching for release here.
Yeah.
Because he gets them, they're in jail, they get out, they violate their probation after they get out of jail, they get nothing if they fight it. I mean, several times in 1 month.
2 weeks later, they're back in the jail with the same charge.
It's crazy what the state allowed under the new rules after all the police officers did in the 90s to get.
So we had one guy that had 18 TTRPs, which are petitions and revoked probations, and I think the max he did at one time was 10 days in jail, which is a joke. So we do have a new district attorney. He was appointed last week, and then we have a new ADA that's supposed to start at the end of the month, so, hopefully things will progress forward instead of going backwards.
Yeah, we'll have Brian write a letter to them stating we would like to see these laws tougher enforcement and, more aggressively prosecuted, so.
I think we should send it to local DA, technically, because the Attorney General is in charge of the DAs, I would assume, and send it to the legislature too.
Yeah, I know the assistant attorney general that basically oversees all of the DAs in Southeast. I've known him for almost 30 years. I got to do with Brian, and maybe between the two of us, we can write something up that we can filter out somewhere. I don't know if it's going to do any good, but it's at least we're trying.
You can't hurt, so, yeah, we were lobbying pretty hard up there, RJ, on it, and it was already, like I said, it was already on the radar, but we'll definitely do some letters, so we'll get on it. Because it's becoming an issue. When we have those big busts and all in a 3-week period, it's crazy. Mike?
Yeah.
So then, the powdered fentanyl that we got, last weekend too, I mean, when you take the powdered fentanyl, the purity that it was, if you take a grain of rice and cut it in half, just that much would make you overdose. If you didn't have Narcan, you'd die.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's gonna be some kid get hold of it somewhere, and we're gonna have a dead kid if we don't watch it. So, Mike?
Oh yeah, there were already counterfeit, Skittles and, the little like I Heart candies, they're basically fentanyl, but they look like candy.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
If we have a new DA, they come over here, for trials every month or two, I would like to, suggest doing an island-wide meet and greet where communities, tribes, schools, councils can sit down and visit with the guy and get to know him and then express some of these concerns to him face to face. I think that's, more than appropriate.
Good idea.
We'll work with our.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. We had that, in play that we were gonna try and get that with the last DA, but it just never worked out, but, I think that, because unfortunately the DA that, chances are, he's not gonna be the one coming over here to POW, he's gonna send an ADA, an assistant to come over for trials, but I think, if he's gonna be covering our jurisdiction, he should at least come over and see the island and the courthouse and meet everybody and do that.
I'll work with RJ on a letter, and with the new DA, it's probably a good opportunity for me to give him a call and introduce myself, and that would be a good time to extend an invitation to do a town hall meeting and talk about some of these issues in person to person as well.
Good. We'll get on it, RJ.
Alrighty, well, we'll keep going after the guys that are doing it.
All right.
Never say battle, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, thanks, RJ. Public Works.
I submitted a report as required. Be more happy to answer any questions that you have concerning that report.
questions for Russell? Did we figure out which trees Miss Petey wants cut down there or pruned?
She's next on the list for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I haven't gone over there yet.
I haven't gone there yet either, and I haven't had time to send her a text to see,
Okay.
tell her to go put a ribbon on whatever it is she's talking about. So,
Yeah, we'll make a point tomorrow to stop by and try to make some sense of the request.
okay. Good.
Thank you.
Recreation,
You submitted a written report and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a comment, you have a lot on your plate. If you're gonna have rock taken up there, they have that nice little machine that's supposed to be the equivalent of a thing. Public Works can come up and spread some of that rock for you. This is not a job for you, Diane, that's not your job, okay?
Awesome.
You
So,
don't need to be doing that.
yeah,
You do enough.
definitely not.
talk to that,
Somebody can come help you spread that rock.
talk to that Russell guy, he'll get done someday.
I definitely I was gonna talk to him at the staff meeting next Tuesday, because he has Terry's talked to him about the youth center burden has a giant dip in the right side of it and can mess up people's cars, and we just can't fill that on gravel until we get some piping in there and then fill the top of it with gravel, but
It may need to be, I don't know what the correct word is, where you rid it up first and then mix the new stuff all in with it.
It's like
Throw
scour.
on one of the machines that does that.
So it was Russell, scour, is that the word?
I apologize, but
When you tear into the gravel before you put the new down, to give a good surface.
when you scarify it or?
Scarify, there we go.
Yeah, when you,
And we need to do something.
what area are we talking about?
is that one that Terry mentioned that the youth center, it's just, we were just hoping to get like a round pipe for it, so that water could go through, so that we could level it out.
Yeah, he had mentioned that before, about using some old surplus, but, water pipe, but I think, we've got the right size of, drainage pipe that will work just as good over there. But yeah, just stop by and we'll talk about it and we'll come up with a plan.
We'll work to make sure that Ellie doesn't have to install that pipe. and-
Yeah, and with our machinery, it shouldn't take very
Yeah.
long, it'd probably take an hour or less.
That'd be wonderful. There's, I don't know if the machinery can get into the left side of the youth center, so there might be some handwork needing to be done, but yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Some of the stuff to do with the bucket on the machine. On that,
Okay.
the finished pipe, but you can see. I think we probably have a 10-foot setback to that fence, so
It's about 5,
really.
yeah. Just enough to be ADA certified.
Parks and public facilities, sure.
Doug, are you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. I was going to do a report, would be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Doug? Yeah, Mike.
I don't have questions, but I have just something I'd like to share. Probably for a year or more, Fred Hamilton and I have just kind of casually talked about the Helium Heart Protocol. And if anything has ever been done with it to basically help extend his life, treat it.
Mhm.
And to the best of our knowledge, we couldn't recall that it has been done. I talked to John Rowan a few days after our last conversation, which was a few weeks ago, and asked him what he does, or what he would recommend, and he said they have some, he told me the name, I do not remember, but they have a very high quality sealer that he uses for some of their toilet
Is it
bowls.
Seekins or?
It wasn't Seekins, it was something I hadn't heard of.
Huh.
And he said it's about $500 a gallon, but he said it lasts for 2 or 3 years, where Seekins, he said only lasts about 6 months, and then it leaches back out. So, I just wanted to put this on the radar. I think this would be a really cool project to collaborate and try it on. Do something this summer when it's dry. John has some really good recommendations about carefully cleaning them and then treating them after they've been dry for a while. I think that it's something we want to take care of.
Yeah, it's something we need to talk to John about. My biggest fear of treatment is something like creosote and ruin the quality of that work. And that would really bother.
I'll put John and Doug together when Doug gets back in town. We can talk about it.
John had just treated some stuff at their carving shed.
Oh,
And so I was able to look at it. It actually has a bit of a hue of natural wood, just a hair off of natural, but it's not bad.
mhm.
Where some treatments are really, just the color is terrible.
Yeah,
But anyways, he can provide good guidance, and I think this would be a good project to work with. Try and run. Something that, we can.
yeah. I'm sure he treated that hole we taken over by Greg with the same stuff. I'm not sure what. It'd be good to know what it was.
Okay, Doug, would you just put on your calendar that when you get back April 1st, we'll sit down with John Rowe and kind of look at what the options are for treating that totem?
Yes, when I first started 8 years ago, we did treat the Indian Heart Totem Pole. Previous parks owners had dealt with the state or federal parks up there in Sitka, the totem park, and I was in contact with that, and there's special stuff that we treated it with, and I have all that information.
Okay.
But it definitely is due again. It needs to be done on a periodic timetable, and I believe we're probably definitely due again.
Okay.
But I'll share all that information that I have in my files when I get back.
Good.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Moving on. Reading correspondence.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'll just point out that first item is just an interesting read and a good reminder that the council is subject to the Open Meetings Act. And Palmer Council got themselves twisted around a little bit by primarily email and private Facebook groups where they had more than 3 council members participating in discussions that the council was likely to act on. So it's just kind of a good reminder to be cautious of those occasions. We just steer clear of the Open Meetings Act for violations of it.
Yeah, 3 or less is okay, but 4 of you constitutes a meeting, so.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook or email or telephone or anything. Beware. Land into trust lawsuit issue of Juno Empire. Clinton, you represent the tribe and all that, what do you know about that article? What do you think?
I don't know much about it other than my opinion is it's a shame that a state would sue their own citizens
Okay,
over land. The parcel is not much bigger than this room we're all sitting in.
is it the one across from the hall there?
It's like
Rabbit Hall?
adjacent, yeah, it's behind, I don't know which way is that. It's towards, I guess towards the airport from the Elizabeth Private Hall. It's for the employees park.
Oh,
There's an old homestead back there. There's a chain link fence around the homestead.
oh, that's one of the old native homesteads.
It is,
All that whole section in there was.
the homestead Gates is owned or was owned by families in Coquon,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about the gist I know of it.
Interesting.
We were mentioned in the lawsuit
Who
that
was?
we have land in the trust, tribe, Craig tribe.
Oh, okay.
Although the statute for any actions against Craig tribe is already passed from anybody.
Yeah. I still don't completely understand what that's all about, but I'm trying to figure out more about it. Figure out how to understand it. So, I thought that all that stuff was settled in 71 with angst and all those other things that were supposedly settled, but I don't think anything ever settled.
corporations aren't tribes and tribes aren't corporations. And, yeah,
The tribal members belong to corporations, and I'm not sure how they do that, so.
we have members in Great Tribe that aren't members of ANSCA.
No, yeah.
We have members who are from lower 48 who live here and want membership due to healthcare through search, and we allow it.
I know one.
The difference, Mr. Mayor, is the Inkster corporations are for profits. And those came about in 72. Tribe's been here forever. And they're non-profit, so that is the difference.
Yeah. But didn't they have the Native Claims Settlement Act in 71 or was it?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, I haven't asked. Okay. I'll have to do some research on it. See what I can learn about it.
And on a very happy note, I felt it important to include every one of the letters, even though the packet's bigger. 30 pages, it's great to have him back, and one of his strengths has always been his involvement with the schools, so there's a whole pack of letters from the school kids there thanking our police department.
That was nice.
Sergeant Page also came and played dodgeball with us the other day, which was very nice of him.
They used to do it all the time, but COVID kind of busted that up, but it's good to see her getting back into it.
Totally.
That's really good. So,
Just make sure they
appreciate it.
Just make sure they don't play too hard. We're hearing the kids being a little afraid of dodgeball.
That was only when Roby was there.
Sergeant James is also coming to every single week, which is so nice.
We don't really, have mercy on the kids though. They're full balls, they're fine.
Not at all. They love it.
Well, just remember, kids grow up.
So those kids,
$1 each, they quit.
some of them are already, so.
Yeah. Yeah, those letters from the Craig Police Department were pretty impressive, I like that.
Yes.
Consideration of resolution and ordinances. We have resolution 23-22, shared fisheries tax.
Move to adopt resolution 2302.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution 23-22, shared fisheries tax. Is there any discussion on this? Julie?
No, okay, Devon, sorry.
So what was the fisheries tax issue?
What was your question?
Did you have any opinion?
Oh, no.
No?
And then we're going outside of our house.
You defer your Jim on this one?
Yeah.
This is boilerplate. Yeah, it's a formality every year.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we do this to roll call or we do this on?
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Hannah Bassett. Molly Sheover,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Julie McDonald,
Yes.
Sean McKinley, Jim C.
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
I was hoping you would make him explain.
Nice.
I wondered about.
Get back to you on it.
Thank you, Council.
Yeah. Okay, new business, reappropriation of funds for the aquatic center.
There was a memo substituted from one that was in the packet that actually reduces the amount of the reappropriation from 18,000 to 15,000.
And I can reduce it lower.
She can, she's very good.
I can reduce it lower. As of this morning, what we would be asking for is the 12,000 for the machine and $1,000 for shipping.
It's awesome.
Is it coming from Seattle?
So it's free shipping to Seattle. So the one that's in your packet, not the new one,
I touched it.
oh, okay. The one that was in your packet, the guy offered shipping and, you know, for somebody who we couldn't get a hold of for weeks, now won't leave me alone because now, you know, Deshaun. But, the other one, the new machine has a lot more features. It's a little bit smaller of a footprint. It'll fit better. But it is a free shipping to Seattle. I'm not sure where it's from. I believe it's in California is what the website said. And then Samson's shipping charges about $950.
Did you talk to Samson
I
about
had
that?
talked to Samson about both of them.
Did they say they'd give you a little better rate?
Well, the first rate was almost $2,000.
Ooh,
So, and now it's $950. AML wanted $1,800 for it as well.
So you're needing 13 now, 13?
Yep.
Okay. So I make a motion to reappropriate 13,000 from the collects and wages and benefits to materials, supplies, and freight to purchase a new multi-use exercise machine.
was that 13 or 15? Because one says 18 and the other says
We're
15.
down,
It's
we're down to
13.
13, this is Let's Make a Deal.
Oh,
We're
okay.
dropping it.
Originally, it was set
Okay.
because we did not have for sure shipping charges because we couldn't get the company to give us a for sure shipping charge. So I went hunting for a different machine that could actually give me a person to talk to. And I got a person to talk to, and it is free shipping within, the United States to Seattle, and then Seattle to us is about $1,000.
On that note, I'll second.
Will this machine come get us out of bed and make us come work?
Well, you know, if it's not making coffee for me by the time I get there,
This one will fit.
this one will fit. Well, so they'll both fit. This one's just got a little bit of a smaller footprint. So, I mean, if the other one would fit too. The other one was 20 feet. This one is about 15 feet. They both fit. They were just the 20-foot one was gonna be a tiny bit on the snug side. And I was a little worried about how it would work. This one I'm not too worried about. And I have somebody who is willing to come up and do some measurements for me and put a program in so I can look at it before I place it. So,
And they're supposed to be ultra high quality.
Yep.
Just remind me of anyone. Aerobic benefit,
well, and this one with the CrossFit pulley is what everybody has been asking for. A lot of people want this CrossFit pulley system. And the best feature of the other one was it was a lot heavier duty, but the CrossFit pulley system wasn't nearly as nice as this one is, so. This one's still pretty good and heavy duty. It's just a little bit shorter, which we didn't need, 10 foot of pole. We really, really didn't. So this one will just fit a little bit better.
Okay. Motion for made, and was it seconded?
Yeah, really.
Good.
You just tell them at the bit to come use it.
No, there you go. Okay, motion's made and seconded to appropriate the funds for the aquatic center to get a new exercise machine that Lake Shepton wanted.
This is dealing with finances, Mr. Mayor, and that's all vote would be appropriate.
And for clarification, there is no also.
I could make him run. He lives across the street. I can make it work.
See,
We could just retime that tsunami alarm. 6 a.m.
roll call vote, please.
Hannah Basnet, Millie Schinover,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Julie McDonald,
Yes.
Janelle McKinley, Jim C.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appropriate funds for the skater repairs. And SEADA repairs.
Skate, you had it first.
What's that?
Skate, you had it first, please.
Move to appropriate $20,000 from the general fund to the other account 2022.5700.00000 for repairs to the SCADA system.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to appropriate funds of $20,000 in skater repairs. discussion on this?
The only thing I'll add, Mr. Mayor, is this work brings the SCADA up to where we need it right now. SCADA, replacing a bunch of components of SCADA is one of the DEC revolving loan fund projects that the council recently approved us to move forward with. And so this is a little bit separate from that work. It's all related, but this needs to be done immediately as opposed to the larger replacement project for next year.
So if we do this stuff is still gonna be used after we pay the $20,000 to do all this stuff?
Yes, it will. Part of the issue is that this has been an ongoing project. Of course, I mentioned that in the memo. We've been working with Boreal Controls for the last year. This is just to bring us up to speed to where we have a SCADA system. We were at without basically a call out, dial out alarm system for about a year. This software update will be compatible with the upgrades that we'll be asking from the state for that SCADA program. Now, the upgrades for the SCADA program through the SRF loans isn't gonna be dealing with the software. It's gonna be mostly dealing with the PLCs that you have out there. So you have one PLC for each treatment train. You have a total of 4 treatment trains out there, and then one master control out there. And so those are what we're looking to try to replace. Those are 30 years old, and they need to be upgraded. So this software will be able to deal with the new upgrade for the PLCs.
But the SRF loan project will not replace equipment that we're gonna replace with this $20,000. It's software on one side and hardware on the other.
Question.
Mike?
Yeah, I would assume, I see that, it looks like an electric surge or brownout caused part of the issues with the present system to the past system, but I would assume something this expensive probably has a built-in surge protection system built with it internally.
Yeah, I'm sure that, I can double check on that, but, I'm sure that it's got that type of protection in it. Your original SCADA system was, what, almost 20 years old?
2004.
Yeah, so almost 20 years old. It's gone through several harsh blackouts and brownouts, especially last year out on Port St. Nick. It went through one major blackout, which not only fried that SCADA system out there, but it also fried part of our fuel system on our diesel, which we ended up spending money to replace that too, a big huge brain box in there. So, I mean, I think you've gotten well service out of what you have.
I'm not questioning that, but just, brownouts are a fact of life here, and just making sure we protect this as much as possible.
There shouldn't be, if you look at your electric bill this month, it's 28.5 cents a kilowatt hour now. If people need to start looking at their bills. It's ridiculous how much they're charging us for electricity here. Absolutely ridiculous.
Part of the upgrade to the PLCs, I'm sure will have that surge protection as well. That was part of the issue is that we couldn't get the PLC on the, I think it was treatment train, the second treatment train, what they call treatment train B, was not communicating at all with the SCADA system right before the SCADA system really took a dump on it. So we're working to upgrade everything.
Does that answer your question, Jim? About the 2 projects?
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question about the 2 projects?
So we vote on this now?
A voice vote, a roll call. vote.
Anna Bassett, Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Julie McDonald,
Yes.
Chanel McKinley, Jim C.
Yes.
Appointment planning commissioners. Brian, you want to speak to that, or better you do again?
Okay, so, it's that time of year again, usually there's at least one or two planning commissioners that come up for reappointment or, can choose to step down. Both, Barbara Stanley and Sharon Zellhuber are willing to serve another term, 2 years. We'd be happy to have them back, both of them have done a very good job, Cheryl Executive as our chair for quite some time, I believe since 2012, if I recall right. And, checked with the mayor, said he's okay with them being reappointed, but it's something that needs to go through the city council as well and get approved.
Did anyone else apply?
I didn't advertise it truthfully though.
Isn't it supposed to be advertised?
They just have to be reappointed, and generally we give them deference to, current commissioners who are interested in continuing their term.
Yeah, but it's public. And I think it should be advertised to give other people the opportunity and I don't have a problem with reappointing them, but it really should be advertised.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I got in when I was appointed, was I applied, and I just think the public should have that opportunity if they wish or had an interest in finding somebody.
We can make that practice.
Yeah, I agree with it too. I agree with concurring with people that are there, that are doing a good job, they would get first dibs or first consideration, but it's a public position, we should let people know.
So you want to advertise that for a couple of weeks before we make a firm decision?
Yeah, we can do that, so.
Put that on the next meeting.
Make sure it gets advertised.
We'll do.
Thank you.
There was one more item that was sent out, and the mini agenda was posted, and an item was emailed out to the council, regarding the boat launch ramp. Okay, we'll just carry that over to the next meeting then. I don't know.
We need to,
Yeah, okay, I saw it.
okay,
I didn't see it, but we can go ahead and.
Okay.
talk about it.
So
I didn't
the,
see it.
can I speak?
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
Brian wrote the memo, I was, under the direction of the council, the mayor, and as well as the harbor advisory committee. There's been a lot of interest in taking out the high spot of the boat ramp, the False Island boat launch. It would decrease the angle is off by just a little bit. The machine is rated at 12-degree slope, and it's 12.4 slope. With there being a little bit of a hump at the end of it. I verbally solicited bids from B3, Mike Bush, as well as CDC, which is Chris Bolovich out of Sitka. And it was a verbal solicitation, explanation of what the scope was. And we got the 2 bids back to do the work. And they're not exactly apples to apples, but I feel both businesses wanted the job. Both are qualified to do the work. And B3 came in a little cheaper than CDC.
so I still have an outstanding phone call with Fish and Game. The ramp was built in 1999 with Fish and Game money, so I need to make sure that we're either past the expiration date or don't fall afoul of any of their regulations.
So the big thing with Fish and Game is it's broken and it has to be fixed. Unless they wanna come fix it, we need to fix it now before traffic starts to get heavy.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to push it, and sorry I didn't get in your packet, but, yeah, that both businesses are able to do it this month, is what, that, I've talked with.
It's gotta move fast, because they're gonna have to start hauling boats real quick for the salmon season, so.
They wanna fix it this month?
Yeah, he said
Well,
February,
then-
March is the only time CDC does, and I think
Plus you're
most
gonna
is the
have,
same way, they're both open right now.
plus there's gonna be a lot of people starting to launch boats for fish aids.
Right.
So we have North Cove to back it up, but still, we need that one. If we can get this one fixed in the next 30 days,
Light boats will be able to go on it
a lot
within
easier.
a week. The heavy boats aren't gonna be able to be pulled for at least a month after it's moored,
But
at least a month.
It'll be shut down for, yeah, for a good 7 to 10 days after the pour for the concrete to cure.
Then we need to get somebody who knows concrete really well to, you might be able to pull out some smaller boats like the Anchor, but pulling out 30-ton boats or 50-ton boats is gonna be a while.
It's a slow time of the year, so it's, yeah, easy enough to push that out.
Right.
Yeah, the one thing I did see in the two proposals that were different is, CBC, if I'm reading this right, they're suggesting a 6-inch concrete, slab, and B3 is, proposed in their drawing here, it says 10 inches. I believe, as best as I can see, I've looked at where the water is undermined it a little bit, and it looks like it's about 8 inches, so I would not be comfortable going less than 8 inches.
I agree with that.
And the B three proposal had a couple of other items. Both of them fixed the ramp. B 3s proposal also includes, kind of rebuilding that rock wall that used to be just north of the bulkhead for the walking ramp. And so B 3's proposal is lower cost, provides thicker concrete and a little bit more work. So that's the proposal that Hans and I are recommending.
Yeah, and CBC, they just got done doing a big boat ramp job up in Sitka, so their numbers are, they've beefed this up even from what the state's spec was. And I've talked about the corner that he's talking about, you can see where they used a 6-inch board for a slab, but if you feel under that, it's thicker. It's really hard to determine if they just didn't grade it underneath very well up to the form, or if it was a deeper slab. Mike Halm was the original contractor that, I don't know if he was the contractor, but he said he poured the original slab there. B3 would utilize Mike Halm's company to do the cement work. CBC would utilize Southeast Road Builders to do the demolition and the grading, and then they would do the cement work. So,
So the recommendation, if you don't have a memo in front of you, is to appropriate $40,000 from the capital reserve fund to move forward with the boat launch rehabilitation.
I'm comfortable with it, it's been long meeting.
If he's gonna put 10 inches of concrete in there, dude.
By reducing the slope is another thing council needs to keep in mind, is that we're reducing the wear and the tear on the all-out machine by making it work not quite as hard because it has less slope. And so we'll actually save repairs on all-out and problems there, so. Because that hump is an obvious hump, when you stand there for a project drawing, you can see it come up like this, and roll. And it's got, it should have been flat. And that's where the machine struggles every time, is when it reaches that hump. So it's really the blow hoses and motors and stuff. So undue stress. So what do you wanna do on this? Is it appropriated?
Yeah, the council wants to move forward with the project. project, we need to appropriate, we don't have any money in the budget currently, so council would need to appropriate funds. I recommend just appropriating funds from the capital reserve fund.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move to direct staff to appropriate $40,000 from the capital reserve fund and proceed with permitting and construction work to upgrade the existing Falls Island boat launch.
I'll second, but I do wanna say we need to get a firm date of when they're gonna start, we need to get it advertised big time everywhere, not just on our website, because all the people skips, go king salmon fishing and everything else you need to know. We need to get everybody involved in this.
Fish egg season's coming up close. Sooner than really.
March, sometime in March.
This is second of February.
I know.
Should be toward the end of March for fish eggs. And it's been going a little later, the last 2 years, it's been a little closer to the beginning of April, so the first week or two of April, I think it was the last 2 years, if I'm right.
Water's warmer this year by about
Is it?
4 degrees.
Okay.
And they're more crowded.
Yeah, all right, we'll get that one done.
Can we get a vote on this? We do a roll call.
Roll call.
And you're gonna check with the fishing game.
Yeah, I still have to make sure that they're okay, that there's nothing that stops us, that we have to work through before we start construction.
Just almost wanted some pictures.
Oh, that's my plan, is to talk about the undermining and
Tell them it's real good, send them the bill,
All those planks.
and then when they say no, then say, okay, we're gonna
It's our representative, full of grace. Good that we don't put it on the air, it's getting it done. So anyway, roll call please.
Hannah Bassett, Elise Schinover,
Yes.
Michael Campbell,
Yes.
Julie McDonald,
Yes.
Chanel McKinley, Jim Safety.
Joe,
What, Jeremy, do you want to talk, Glenn?
You know what, I came up here with something to tell you guys, and I forgot, and I'm looking at the map, and now I recall, if I may, I know I'm on order, but I have a concern as a member of the public about the Shaw Ellison site. We all drive by there, we all seen the backhoe there, the backhoe's out back, now he's starting to excavate some dirt back there. That's a very, C&W was there when I was a kid. I mean, we all realize it's probably contaminated. I have a concern. I seen the sheen on the water yesterday. It runs across the road at Arrowhead, water sheens across there. I'm concerned about the oil contamination they're gonna expose.
Yeah, we are too.
But they are actively moving. If you drive into Zapp's, you can see the little rubber tire track go down there. It's a concern as a citizen of contamination of crab hay.
Did you contact the state, Brian? Because I know we've discussed this.
He was working with an engineering firm on tank removal, soil remediation issues
Yeah, he was working with them.
with an engineering firm,
Okay.
which will then in turn work.
Might be something we want to look into.
That's fair to ask.
Yeah, it's a fair question to ask if they're remediating or addressing the issue of the sheen. Because our city property is adjacent to that, and we don't want it over, we've already given fair warning on that. So if it comes over there, you're gonna clean it up.
And I know there was some discussion in the last minutes about a fuel station that the Craig Tribe's looking at. And I know there's some brief comments made, but there are two different properties we're looking at. One's at kind of a standstill with the landowner, but we're now looking and working with the corporation on the existing fuel station that they wanted to build, on leasing that land to start a fuel station service there.
Good idea.
They're willing to lease us, they're not willing to sell land, but I'm, for one, tired of driving to Clock to get gas,
We all are.
big time.
Yeah, because the delays there on the Sutherland have been concerning, and, being they were in that issue about the soil and that, we've been kind of just talking to them, standing back, so we know where they're headed.
I don't know what direction they're headed.
We don't know either. Are those tanks in?
We will not utilize any equipment Sean C. has used, all three we will use will be above ground.
Okay, that's what I figured, that's the only.
You just landed in Juneau, you've seen the fuel
It's the only
station
way to
across
go.
from Fred Meyer.
Yeah.
It's built right on the beach.
The petrol one, yeah. Yeah, that's the only way to go.
We're meeting with some engineers next week via video, discuss some options.
Good.
You need to call the people with the machines, because the big backlog right now is getting somebody to get the machines, so they'll take the credit cards. There's a big backlog. I called to find out, because I was researching myself on this.
We actually have probably, well, 8 weeks out on materials, which ain't really that bad.
Even the pumps themselves, or?
Yep.
Wow, that's way better than it was 4 or 5 months ago.
We're gonna do a 3,000 gallon above tank. Above ground tanks.
Are you gonna put a store into it, or just a tank?
We're gonna,
Fire service?
our council has to decide, but, if we have the money to build the store, even if it's manless right now.
Yeah.
I've been chatting with Three Bears Alaska a little bit. They're a chain out of northern Alaska, but they moved into Saxton. And, competition doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, if we, that'd be a goal, is to put some sort of a small store there, even if it's not manned right now, to have the facility ready. Our gas station, I believe, no one knows, will maybe leave mostly manuals at first to see how the card works.
It's a great idea.
24/7.
Don't know why County didn't pursue it. They didn't seem interested, so.
Not very cheap, but
No, it's
we
not.
gotta have something in our town.
Yeah, we do, yeah. If that Schwab site was dead, it'd be very much longer, they're gonna have to do something, I didn't know what. And the city can't get into the private enterprise, we're not, can't go head to head with people, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just a question, would you, even though you don't intend on using the below ground tanks, I'm thinking you probably would still take them out?
Yeah, the landowner's gonna remove them.
Yeah.
And there's a cement foundation that they're gonna remove.
Okay, yeah, because that way in the future, if you want to further develop there, it's, yeah, very good.
It's a pretty big piece of land. It's not probably quite big enough for we need footprint, but it's close.
Starting.
I was gonna actually, this guy sitting next to me, I don't remember his name, but Russell. I was gonna talk to him about sewer, because it's a forced sewer, I believe,
it is,
and there's water.
but we looked at putting in a pump station there, there's some people that's capable of handling, there's 2 options there. So it's something that's already been discussed.
Yeah, right on. And just future dialogue, harbors, streets, if you guys are looking for help with anything financially, the Craig Tribe does put your streets in our tribal inventory. Docks and harbors are included. We're all in for our community.
Yeah, we're working on a project right now, but it's a little early to start seeking anything, but there's things in the works.
But like the boat launch, I use it 30, 40 times a year on my boat water.
Yeah. Well, that's what my concern is about getting these guys in. I told Hans and them I want something in there, and I want it done before March.
Because I don't know if I can get, I don't know if a charter boat could get in at North Cove. That's a pretty tough turn.
Pretty tough.
I mean.
No, we'd have to do some changing where the garbage cans are, move the stuff around, but.
Yeah, but anyway, here nor there, but yeah. The fuel station is gonna move forward for us, and the concern about the contamination at the existing.
Yeah, we've been watching to see what it develops, because we've been talking about the contamination issue for 3 weeks now or better, before they started digging. We knew it was there, the potential, so.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in.
And when you do decide on a location, or the conditional use permit process, just let me know when you're ready to move forward.
Yeah, I was actually gonna try to get you to email me that plat.
Oh, this one?
So I can
Yeah,
forward,
sure
no. There's the one up the lot over there that's on.
Okay, Sean C. property?
Yeah, that one there, survey, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can kick it off to an engineer.
That sent to you.
Yeah, if we can help you there, let us know.
Yeah. I think it'll be good for the community, it's a good spot, prime spot.
It is, it's great for the community, I mean, because we're all getting sick and tired of going to Floss for fuel.
I mean, if anything falls through there, I know the city owns land north of that. You guys, lease.
Lease or something.
I mean, we gotta do something.
Yeah, we do, and, it's like I said, we didn't wanna get it, we can't.
Yeah.
But we're open to ideas.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Joey, you wanna go home? Well, they do that, they were a little,
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Any council comments?
I may not be here the 16th, but I'll let you know.
Thank you. Mike?
I do know I'll be gone from March 6th to about April 16th. I think I'll make the first one in March, so I might miss two. I can call in if we're short.
Let me know.
I'll be back next week, so hopefully I'll be back.
Hopefully.
Let's hope so.
You will be back.
You want to send that for with him when you come back or what?
Okay, we'll adjourn.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey.
So if I have a time, you're gonna set it afterwards on that tree on that area. But tomorrow, when it's surprising, it's gonna be awesome. And then we'll get going. Before we carry that, I'm ready to start the process. I'll do the-
So conditions, you ever, it'll be a good idea to have a.
Yeah,
Good there.
maybe that first was at a bank, and then
Yeah.
I realized that there was other people in line, so then they just wanted to actually, like, increase your Fairbanks. Yeah. There's only 4 of them need, so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
Look for that guy.
I know the fire department is more of a. Fire department, they're paying. They put inside the shelves. But it's worth it, the public safety. Yeah, you don't want a small. Basically, black bear.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Although my father-in-law.
Tired, Mike?
Like my.
Yeah.
Not like, as much as I've been asked, but
Yeah.
and he's been very productive on his, year on.
We're ready.
Good off the ground this year, like,
Mhm.
hard to look at, like, legalities around.
Yeah.
But very receptive on that.
still have buy the land and lease land.
Maybe
No
easily
matter.
been like, oh yeah, great idea.
For itself.
You know, you could blow me off.
Yeah.
I am going to be,
That's interesting.
I just asked her if we
so far.
got the footprint of the building and the tank.
I have to take
We
into
overlaid it
account.
onto the
I'm on
stuff that
Sunday.
they ordered and dropped it. We were gonna still get that
But like,
permit. Start the process of fire marshal and ordering.
moving for her chief.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
get that beforehand, before you've done the voting,
Yeah.
just have that plan, you're
Right.
going for, so they have a clear picture.
Yeah, it's a lot more sensitive, and he's got that stuff back.
Yeah,
Because we met with the fire director.
I like
Some real issues. We do too.
Fire marshal.
Start as
The
soon as
other cost they're
possible.
looking at.
That's the
jury's out.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of.
But you just seen it brand new and they put it somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think
The visual.
I think it's like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know,
No,
like,
it's like,
just you or way too late.
yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Nope,